to live in my home. It's 8:42, 18 before 9. Ken Gontarek in the morning. We have plenty of sunshine today. We're going to make it up to 74 before we shut things down. A little warmer tomorrow. We're going to start off with more clouds and sun and then a gradual clearing. It looks like we may hit 82 before that front makes its way through around lunchtime, but not a big drop in temperatures, but you will notice a wind change. It is 44 right now. Lampasas City Manager Finley DeGraffenreid and Ronnie Witcher coming up next.
It's never easy thinking about when you're gone or losing someone. But Heritage Funeral Home is here to make your life and your passing a lot easier on you and your loved ones staying behind. They can help you plan ahead, and that makes all the difference to your family. Every life has a special story, and Heritage can help tell that story. Send your loved ones off by celebrating their life, because every life deserves a time of celebration. You can go online to heritagefuneraltx.com to view their resources, including planning ahead, grief support, food baskets, memorial jewelry, gifts, and tributes. Or call 1-800-922-4396. Heritage now has a home here in Lampasas at 401 North Key. They're affordable, dignified, and professional. Heritage Funeral Home, honoring life even after.
It's Wednesday morning. Welcome to Lampasas City Manager Finley DeGraffenreid in our studio. It has been an eventful couple of weeks since we got together.
Right.
First of all, I know that you've had the doors at City Hall closed for the last week or so. Tell me about it.
You bet. Yes, we did have a couple of staff folks in City Hall that were tested positive for the coronavirus, and out of kind of an abundance of caution, we shut the doors, did a deep cleaning. We tried to make sure any other staff that may have been in contact with them, nothing was spread to those additional staff members, and we're about back to normal here in the next day or so. But you know, I know it's an inconvenience, particularly for those folks that like to come in and pay their utility bill over the counter and that sort of thing, but we just have asked folks to use our drive-through. We're fortunate that we do have a drive-through. We continue to see people that we need to see just by appointment and having them come in, but kind of that everyday traffic that we normally will have, we tried to shut that down, not only for the safety of the public, but also to keep an eye on our staff and make sure none of them were
make sure we don't spread anything.
Exactly.
Well, it's just the logical thing to do, and it offers some inconveniences, I guess, as businesses or offices have to close down or restrict their traffic, but it's just something we have to learn to live with until this is over.
And we certainly understand. We have, because we have a drive-through and are accessible, we have some advantages that other businesses do not have, and we certainly feel for those folks that stay open day in and day out and are struggling with a staff person here or somebody, you know, a family member of a staff person that tests positive. Unfortunately, it's the day and time we live in.
Yes. Well, tell me, give me your coronavirus report. What do you know?
Well, we had seen a spike. I believe it was last week. It was up in the 150 active cases range. We've gotten a report yesterday that our active cases are down to about 129. There is a little bit of lag on that. Sometimes the reporting isn't as quick or as up to date or timely as we'd like it, but we're hopeful that even though we see these fluctuations, we'll eventually start seeing it come down a little bit.
Did you imagine months ago that we would ever reach those kind of levels, 150 or whatever active cases?
You know, I can remember back in, was it March or April, we had 10 or 11, and we were concerned about it getting to 20, and I don't, you know, the statistics on it are pretty curious. You don't know if there were many more active cases that just were not tested at that time because the testing wasn't as robust, or if it, you know, as things began to get relaxed in terms of businesses opening, if that caused a spike. School starting was another question mark, the holidays. So we're hopeful we're seeing some signs in other areas of the state, particularly for hospitalizations that are starting to level out and even come down. And in the Austin, Travis County trauma service area, they're actually seeing their percentages of COVID cases hospitalized less than 15%, which is allowing them in some circumstances to go back up to 75% occupancy and reopen some of those other businesses. So we're hopeful. I think the immunizations are probably having some impact, albeit there's certainly not as much vaccine out there as we'd like there to be. We need to, and Chief Smith and the county emergency manager are working very hard to get a hub and a pharmacy here in town that can at least provide some of those inoculations.
That is the problem. We talk to people. We get a lot of phone calls about this kind of thing, and there's a
Right.
great deal of frustration
Absolutely.
on the part, particularly of older people.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the 1B category, and they're saying, what do I do? Where do I go? And we tell them what we know, and they say, I tried that. And so many people say, I don't have a computer. I don't
Right.
know how to do that. And they're crying for help, and there just doesn't seem to be very much good information out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I wish we had more of a say, but it has been frustrating. We do know that hopefully here very soon, the feds are going to push out a million additional vaccines to 6,500 pharmacies. They're really targeting those local pharmacies that can provide the inoculations. I know Chief Smith has even offered to provide help in terms of giving shots. But again, if we don't have the vaccine, it's hard to get it in people's arms.
I understand. I understand by a release from the county judge that there's some renewed attempts to get a hub here.
Yes, absolutely. Whether that's a clinic or even perhaps like we talked about through one of the pharmacies.
Well, we'd certainly hope that something comes up in the very near future, at least for those people that are in the 1A, 1B categories. That needs to be over and done with so it can get to the general public.
Right. And we've, I do know of some folks here locally that have received shots that are maybe not necessarily 65, but they have some underlying conditions, and so they have been vaccinated. So there are some vaccinations or vaccines floating around out there. But again, I think we'd like to see more people have more opportunity to get those shots.
I think the problem, Finley, honestly, is that those people that we know of that have been able to get the vaccine been those people that are very aggressive and that have the ability to get online and watch very close. It's the older and the feeble people that don't have those abilities.
And it goes back to watching out for your neighbors. My mother-in-law, fortunately, was part of a group where she lives that all got inoculated. So I think, at least in some sense, those folks that are living in the long care nursing facilities or long-term care facilities have been taken care of, and those staffs. We also know some first responders as well, and some members of the public, but I think that's the same thing I've heard.
Yeah. Okay, on to other matters, city business. What's going on there?
Well, I think the one thing we want to make sure folks remember is that we are currently accepting filings for places on the City of Lampasas City Council. So if you have an interest in serving, particularly if you've kicked around on other community boards or on other appointed boards, you might consider filing for a place on the Lampasas City Council. We have 4 places open, which includes the mayor, T.J. Monroe's spot, Delana Toop's spot. Randy Clark is the only incumbent that has refiled, so we only have one person filed now for the 4 positions. But come down, and certainly if you have any questions, we'll be happy to accommodate you or give us a call.
Step up and be a part.
You bet.
That's what it amounts to. So, meetings coming up. Anything?
Yes, we're in the process of putting together our agenda for our meeting Monday night, City Council. Looks like we'll have some updates, kind of the usual updates on the COVID-19 pandemic. Also give a status report on the comprehensive planning process. The council work plan, which is different than the comprehensive plan. We'll be taking a look again at amendments to our personnel policy, and then we've got a number of different land use cases that council will hear about during the regular agenda.
All right. And to be clear, City Hall open now, still closed?
I would anticipate that we'll be back open no later than tomorrow morning, maybe even this afternoon.
So if you have business that you actually need to get in and talk to somebody,
please call us. We'll be happy to unlock the doors, let you in. Please feel free to utilize our drive-through. You can do just about anything through the drive-through that you can in person.
Lampasas City Manager Finley DeGraff and Reed on Wednesdays on KCYL KACQ Radio.
In many countries around the world, medical